So I'm waiting to see Dr. Siri. She is going to come on split screen with us today, and this is super exciting because this might be our new thing. And we just had her on inside of the Milk Allergy Mom private support group, our membership, and we talked all about indoor allergies, which are more important than a lot of us think that they are. We have been told for years that my son has those and that they make a difference in his whole allergy picture with the anaphylactic food allergies. And as a food allergy mom, I know a lot of you guys can probably relate. We have such blinders on sometimes thinking my kid cannot eat certain foods and it's not safe and it can be terrible if they eat the wrong food. And really the last thing you want to talk about is dust mites and mold and other things that could be inside and bothering them. But you guys, it really is important to their whole picture. I can attest that getting the indoor and outdoor environmental allergies under control have played a huge role in my son being able to desensitize his life-threatening food allergies. And Dr. Siri is the amazing board certified immunologist who has done this for us. And she had this article that talked about indoor allergies and the different things to just kind of a really handy check sheet. I'm gonna post that for you here after this video. I want to know from you on the list of all the things that you list in this article, what is the indoor allergy that you see the most in your office, and it is probably statistically the one that we deal with most as a population?
Yeah, the number one actually indoor allergen is dust mites, of all things. And it probably didn't used to be the case until our houses got better sealed. We have modern synthetics and we just have really tighter homes. And I think probably anybody in construction will tell you that. But certainly with the nice soft fabrics that we have with mattresses and things like that, carpeting, all of that has unfortunately caused some of our allergic folks like me and genetically predisposed folks to have more exposure to these allergens indoors. And for the normal person who doesn't have a predisposition, they won't have problems. But right now in America, the number one indoor allergen is dust mites. After that, of course, you can imagine is pets, with 70% of people allergic to pets being allergic to cats. But as we see more exotic animals, such as things like, ferrets and hamsters and rabbits, certainly the proportions of those may change. But cats have really fine dander. And so that's kind of like the number two indoor allergen, aside from in terms of the pet arena. But in inner cities, cockroach actually supersedes pet dander. And, really, I think the number one indoor allergen being dust mites, because not everybody has a pet. It's something like 50 million Americans have pets, but everybody has a bed, hopefully. Hopefully everybody has a bed. And then cockroach in a lot of inner cities, in apartment complexes, places where there are a lot of people who congregate, urban areas, things like that. That's actually pretty important as far as eczema, asthma, and allergic rhinitis as well. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. And so thankfully I live in an old house, so maybe I don't have dust mites as bad.
It's possible. I guess it depends on how warm and yummy your bed is. So.
Yes. And I told you I was going to make a promise to you in the group, and I forgot to say it, but I'm going to wash Miles's bedding more religiously now to help with his milk desensitizing. Because if I can help in any way to make his experience a lot better with food allergies, I'm in. So we're going to wash his sheets, Dr. Siri. Is it this weekend yet? It's only the middle of the week. Okay, well, we're going to wash his sheets soon. So dust mites is the number one. You said in the group real quickly that a lot of times cat allergy is dust mite allergy is mistaken for a cat allergy.
Yeah, so some people will come to the office and they'll say, I think I'm allergic to cats because whenever I'm around cats or I go to a house that has a bunch of cats, I seem to have a lot more symptoms. And then they actually get tested, and it's actually not the cat they're allergic to, but the dust mites. Because certainly if there are more people who shed skin, like you and me, or animals, which also shed skin, have dander, saliva, there's actually going to be a lot more dust mites in the household, in the carpet, around the animals, things like that. And so some people, because we don't really wash our cats, most people don't, I have been known to, but there can be a lot of dander, not only from the animal, but also there can be also dust mite particulates. And so some people, it's actually dust mites, and it's not.
All right. So what are the symptoms? Like if we are allergic, a lot of people are allergic to dust mites. What are the symptoms that we're looking for? A lot of times we aren't connecting these dots. As food allergy moms, we go in, we just want to test food. We don't want to talk about environmentals. We don't think it's related. I'm speaking from experience, my own thoughts a long time ago. So what are the symptoms that we're seeing if we have a dust mite allergy that maybe we might want to question and get some more information about?
Right. So dust mite allergy has a tendency to be worse during winter months. So as it gets cold, you're spending more time indoors, you're cuddling in the blankets and the pillows and things like that. So people have a tendency to be worse. And sometimes it's confusing because it coincides with the time that kids go back to school. So their kids are getting sicknesses and they're thinking, my kid's just getting sick from being exposed at school. But, if you're doing all the usual procedures, washing hands, I mean, the kids can be sick over and over. And it seems like those symptoms, the sinus pressure, the coughing, the mucus, is prolonged. And after maybe they had a bacterial infection from, September, and you've given them an antibiotic and it should have cleared up the infection, but they continue to kind of linger with mucus. And then they get another infection on top of that very shortly because it never seems to go away. So infections that seem to last a long time, nasal symptoms, sinus symptoms. So runny nose, itchy eye, stuffiness, snoring, coughing at nighttime, postnasal drip, itchy eyes, rubbing around the eyes. And kids who talk like this, because that's a nasal talk, it basically kept breathing through the nose. I hear that so often, and I have to suppress that urge to tell people, strangers in public, that their kids need to, they have to have their kids get looked at when I see kids talking like this. So, and you can tell that they're having swallowing cough. So those chronic symptoms that seem to last even after an infection has cleared, kid ears being full, having multiple times where they have pneumonia. Some kids will have a pneumonia in the winter, and the next winter they have another pneumonia. Honestly, most people in their life never get a pneumonia ever. And so one pneumonia we might pass, but if you had more than one pneumonia, you may have a problem, and it could be allergy or asthma. Typically, it's asthma in young children. And so those kind of symptoms we think about. Also wheezing, chest tightness, coughing, shortness of breath, exercise avoidance or intolerance. Those all can be triggers, symptoms. And then for eczema, of course, it's dry, so kids are going to be itchy, but those persistent rashes where they're digging around maybe the inside of their elbows, the back of their knees is very common, those kind of places, even all over the body. And so those typical things are symptoms of eczema, asthma, and allergy. And then, yes, it's a winter predominance, and certainly if they're in households where there are more people or there are more pets, they're going to be worse. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if we're seeing not only itchy eyes and that, if we're seeing eczema, if we're seeing asthma, if we're seeing chronic illness they can't get better from, those can all be from dust mite allergy.
They can, yeah. So the only way to know is really to get tested. But you can, without getting testing, if you just simply can't afford to go in right now, you can do the simple measures. You can buy the dust mite covers from really big super shops like Walmart, Target. You can buy them and put them on the mattress and then put them on the pillows, because there's lots of stuff in pillows, including mold. You would love to know what grows out of pillows. So you can buy those covers, and the cheaper ones are made of plastic, and they feel kind of slippery to sleep on. But you can always have a pad or extra sheets on top of that to make it more comfortable. But they're quite affordable, the plastic ones. The nicer ones feel like fabric, and typically they have a really, really tight weave to make the particle size that can pass through that very small. And so those might be the more expensive brands at the big box stores, or maybe another specialty shop, or you can buy them online. And then everything above those dust mite covers should go in the wash. Hot water washings once a week we recommend, with hot dryer, which will kill the dust mites. Wash the feces, wash the bodies. And back in the day when we talk about grandmas who used to drag the mattress and the rugs and those kind of things outdoors to sit in the sun exposure does kill dust mites. So of course, this time of year when it's negative 40 outside, we can't do that.
Right.
So that actually does help, as long as you don't get pollen. And if your child is sensitized to pollen and things like that, you might get pollen on it. So really you have to be careful. If it's only solo desensitization to dust mites, that actually may help. But hot water washings is typically the way to go. So vacuuming, hot water washings, and certainly keeping the humidity at 40 degrees will help the dust mites not overgrow.
Gotcha. Good tips. I'm wanting to wash all my blankets right now. So if you're putting a mattress cover on, should we vacuum the mattress before we do that? Or if we put an air tight cover over the mattress, does that kill the dust mites? What do we do for the dust mites that are in the mattress already before we start covering it up?
Yeah, the typical strategy for trying to eliminate dust mites out of the bed, which is a place where we spend a third of our life.
Research, you have a call parked on one. Research.
Sorry about that.
One.
So most of our life we spend, awake, but a third of our life we spend asleep, and we spend it in the bed. So the majority of dust mites are going to be in the bed and the pillows. And of course we can experience some like in the carpet and things like that. Places such as things like curtains and things like that, we don't worry about them too much because frankly, we don't hang around those things, and we don't kind of spread our proteins there where the dust mites are eating them. And so we focus on the bed and the pillows, and the strategy is encasement because you can't really get rid of all the dust mites. After about 5 to 10 years of having a mattress, there's a significant amount of dust mites in the bed. In fact, some statistics say that, the mattress triples its weight in 10 years due to body proteins and also dust mites. It's kind of gross to think about. And so since you can't really eliminate it, I mean, there are some sprays, which we call kericides, which you can get at things like Lowe's and Home Depot and Ace Hardware, to spray, as well as online, to spray on and basically kill dust mites, but their proteins are still going to be there. So that's why the strategy is to encase it. And then everything above it, you wash in hot water so you prevent reaccumulation on top of those encasements. So if you can wash a pillow, great. It's just sometimes hard to wash it once a week in hot water and hot dryer, but you can. And so some people also will try to remove as many stuffed animals from the bed that they can if they, are still adults who sleep with stuffed animals. I mean, no judgment there. But, in the case of stuffed animals, you do want to wash those as well if you can and dry them. For some people where it might damage the stuffed animal, they might try freezing it for 24 hours and then drying it gently. So that might help as well. But some, we try to choose kind of allergy-friendly animals that can be washed. And for some parents, especially if you have young children, they try to do this strategy where they buy two so that you can sub one out and wash one and then sub it out again. So that might be a good.
There you go. I've washed stuffed animals like in a pillowcase or whatever to keep them from getting too beaten up. And we did try to wash our pillows the other day, and we broke our washing machine. Things have been kind of crazy at my house. So you got to be careful about throwing pillows in the washing machine. I think it's like they aren't recommended for top loaders or something. I don't know. Yeah. But great tips. And if somebody really, really needs to figure this out, they can always go to an allergist and have that testing done. I'm not going to lie, as an allergy mom, food allergy mom, when they're like, well, let's test the environmentals, a lot of times I'm just like, let's just focus on the food here. We don't need to think about all those other things, but it really is important to bring it all together and really solve some of the allergy puzzle for these allergy kiddos, for the food allergy kiddos, and for the family. So those are great tips, Dr. Siri. I really, really appreciate you sharing those with us.
I can't stress enough how important it is to focus on those other health and lifestyle well-being things, because it's true. Many people are, and knowingly so, very, very anxious about the food allergies. But realistically, your kid could suffer long-term lung damage and have, not 100% lung function when they're adults if you don't take care of the asthma. And then certainly eczema could cause a lot of issues. Uncontrolled eczema causes ADHD, sleep problems, and all sorts of a host of issues. And of course, there can be skin infections. So I think that although we're very focused on things like food allergies, we really have to take that whole allergy picture under control and make sure that asthma is controlled, and eczema, as well as sinus things, headaches, things like that, and that makes kids not concentrate as well or perform well at school and cause chronic long-term problems. Yeah.
Right. And I can again attest that paying attention to that finally has really changed things for us, food allergy and all around for our kiddos. So I can't wait to get off and start washing stuff. It's going to be like the best winter freezing day ever. Thank you for being here. I know you have appointments to get to. I'm just going to click the X and I'm going to come back and finish up with these guys, and I'll touch base with you later on. We'll probably see you next week for shots.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the questions.
All right, guys. I'm going to say bye to her, and then I'll say bye to you next. All right. So I hope you guys learned something today. Wasn't that fantastic? Dr. Siri is so stinking intelligent and knowledgeable about allergies, asthma. If you're local, you definitely want to stop in her office. They have tons of satellite offices all around the state. So she's always coming to different communities and reaching all of the middle of our state here. You can see more of our videos with Dr. Siri and Dr. Bob on the Milk Allergy Mom YouTube channel. We have done a lot of talking about asthma, food allergies, a ton, testing, trials, desensitizing, OIT. Milk Allergy Mom on YouTube is where you can hear more